Hi, I'm Pamela Salzman. Today we are going to talk about what the heck is a smoothie bowl and how do you make one? So I have gotten so many questions on my Instagram especially on what smoothie bowls are, how do you make them, what do you put into them, what's the big deal about them, and quite honestly, they are amazing. So it's kind of like eating a smoothie, but with a spoon, and it's almost like soft serve ice cream. So you kind of get this satisfaction of eating something like a dessert, but it's all with really good natural ingredients. So I can't tell you how to make every single smoothie bowl because there are just infinite possibilities. There are, chocolate ones and berry ones and coconut ones and greens, and there are just so many ways that you can go with this. But there are some basic principles for making a good smoothie bowl. First of all, you do need to have something that's going to keep things nice and smooth and creamy. So I'm going to do two smoothie bowls today. One I'm going to do in a Vitamix, and then I'm going to show you how to do it in a food processor because a lot of people don't have a Vitamix. Or another substitute for a Vitamix could be a Blend Tech, which is just another high-powered blender. Kind of your average, standard, everyday blender isn't great for making smoothie bowls. It's fine, but it's not quite as good as these two, which can really power through some good frozen stuff. So if you've ever made an acai bowl, it's kind of the same thing. It's just basically, again, like a smoothie with a lot less liquid. So one of my favorite bases for a smoothie bowl is to use frozen bananas. I think they just have the perfect creamy consistency. And if you don't know how to freeze your bananas, just go on my site on how to freeze fresh fruit. Because if you just throw some bananas into a freezer, you're gonna end up with bananas that have the skins kind of stuck on them. And if you just kind of dump them all into a bowl while they're peeled, they'll all stick together. So I like to start with a base of frozen bananas. Other ways that you can go in terms of the creamy base is you could use some sprouted tofu. So I like this one, and I like sprouted the best because it is more digestible for you. But always look for at least non-GMO or organic tofu. So this will give you a very creamy base. Like if you hate bananas, this will be a good creamy base. And avocados are great too. So those are the three that I kind of usually use as my base. So for one person, I usually go with about 1 cup of banana. I mean, you could also do this in half if you don't want so much, but once you see it, you'll want it. And I also love to blend bananas with something else just so that you don't get as much banana flavor. And I'm really obsessed lately with these frozen green figs, they're organic from Trader Joe's. So I usually pop like 2 of these in here as well. And we're gonna make a chocolate one today. But again, once you start with this base of your frozen banana and your fig, and we're gonna use a little bit of homemade almond milk, you can kind of take it from there. You could add peanut butter, you could add berries, again, you could add greens and like a mint extract, and you could make like a mint smoothie bowl. But I'm gonna add a little of this raw cacao. You don't wanna add too much because it does contain caffeine, so it can be a little bit stimulating. But I love chocolate, so this is one of the ones that I go to the most is a chocolate smoothie bowl, raw cacao smoothie bowl. And I always add a little bit of vanilla, kind of enhances the chocolate. So just a touch, drop. This is Hey Lala vanilla, which is my favorite. And then with chocolate is always a good idea to add a pinch of sea salt. You could also add it on top too, which is kind of fun. And again, just enough almond milk to get things moving along, okay? So I make my almond milk from scratch. You can find that recipe on my site. It's really easy. So let's just start off with like about that much. And you can use coconut water, you could use cashew milk, you could use rice milk, oat milk, whatever you like, real milk. But just something to keep things moving along. Okay, it's gonna get a little bit loud in here. So I'm gonna set this on my smoothies setting. Otherwise, you can set it on whatever, can get things moving more quickly. But let's get started. I think everything is well blended. And at this point, I'll be honest, I usually do taste it just to make sure it's the right sweetness. If it's not, like if you need to add a little something sweeter, there's a million ways you can go. You could add pitted dates, you could add stevia, you could add coconut nectar or honey, you could add more fruit. So, you know, the sky's really the limit. But at this point, I would taste it and then see where we need to go from here. But like, look at that consistency. It's like soft serve ice cream. That is just heaven, serious heaven. So it's like so chocolatey. There definitely is a little bit of banana flavor. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't taste like it's all banana. So I'm gonna scrape this out with a spatula and kind of plunk it down here, again, just like it were soft serve. And really, the fun part to me about a smoothie bowl is all of the toppings that you can put on it. So if I were eating this as a breakfast, then I would want to make sure I had some protein. So at this point, it's kind of lacking protein, right? It's just bananas, figs, raw cacao, and a little almond milk. So what you could do is you could add something like some walnuts, or I love hemp seeds, and I think these have like a really nice nutty flavor. So you could add some hemp seeds like that. And then I love coconut, and I love coconut with chocolate together. So you could add some coconut just for fun. You could toast this up and add this like that. You could add some more chocolate. So if you really like raw cacao, you could add some raw cacao nibs. These are unsweetened. So this gives like a nice crunch to it. One of my new favorites these days is dried mulberries. I mean, that would sound so good with this. And then I do put bee pollen on a lot of smoothies too, a lot of smoothie bowls. So you could pretty much add anything. Maybe I'll just add a little bit more of the raw cacao. Give it a really nice energy boost in the morning, just like that. And that is a smoothie bowl. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I really don't eat too many smoothies or smoothie bowls when the weather is cool, because it's not great for your digestion. But when the weather is warm, or if you have a cup of warm tea before you eat a smoothie bowl, I think you're, pretty safe. But just take a little spoonful just like that. So nice and creamy. I mean, you'd think that you were eating ice cream. It's so delicious. All right, I'll tidy up here, and then I'll show you how to make one in the food processor. Okay, so I've set up for our second version of a smoothie bowl. This time I'm going to show you how to use the food processor to make one, and I'm going to do a different one. So the other one that we just did was a base of frozen banana, frozen figs, raw cacao, a little vanilla, salt, and then just enough almond milk to kind of get things moving around the Vitamix. It's basically the same principle, but this time I'm going to use a different base, a different creamy base. I have here some frozen avocado. I do like to start off with frozen as one of the ingredients because, again, it just keeps things cold and like creamy. So these were peeled, quartered avocados, and I did sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice just so that they wouldn't oxidize. So we'll stick some of the avocado in here, and then this will leave like that. We're going to take some of these blueberries, and then these frozen blueberries. I love using coconut butter. This one is called Coconut Mana. It's a little crumbly, but it's basically the meat of a coconut blended until it's like almost like a paste. And this just gives you really good healthy fats. It has a really nice mild kind of coconutty flavor. My son loves putting this in his smoothies, his smoothie bowls. For this, I'll use some maque powder. This is a really good high antioxidant berry powder, and it really enhances the flavor of berries, so I think it'll go nicely with the blueberries. But again, like I said before, you can really just use so many different combinations of add-ins here. Another way you could go is to add in some protein powder. So this is a raw vegan vanilla protein powder. It does have some sweetness, so just be mindful example of some of the things that you're adding to your smoothie bowl and how sweet they are. Avocados are not sweet, and actually blueberries they're a fruit for sure, but they're not a high glycemic fruit, so you could probably afford to add a little bit of protein powder. This one does have some stevia in it, so it will add some sweetness. I'll just use like a half of a scoop. But I kind of have to say, there aren't really recipes for smoothie bowls that I use per se. I just kind of wing it. I'll blend this up, I'll see what it tastes like, and if it needs anything else, I'll just add something else. Like if it needs a little extra liquid, I'll add some liquid. If it needs just a little pinch of sweetness, I'll do that. I love adding vanilla, so I'll add another drop of vanilla. You can use a vanilla powder too. Almond butter is another great add-in because that can give you some protein. So right now, I'm just gonna see how it goes. We'll add a little bit of the homemade almond milk. Again, coconut water works too. Just like that, just enough to kind of move things along. Okay, we're gonna make some noise. We're just trying to get everything nice and smooth and creamy. Take a peek. Let's just scrape it down. So one thing that I do have to do with a food processor as opposed to the Vitamix is I just have to usually scrape down a little bit. You could also add in here would be frozen mango. I think that would be amazing. Okay. One time I also made a basil blueberry smoothie bowl, so you could add basil into the food processor too. Okay, I think that looks good. Color is so beautiful. Blueberries are so rich in antioxidants. They're incredibly good for you, good for the brain too. And like I said before, they are a low glycemic fruit. Okay, so let's just scoop out this. Again, just looks like soft serve. And you can make it thinner too. So like if you want it a little more soupy, you go right ahead and just add basically a little more almond milk until you get the consistency that you want. Personally, I love to feel like I'm eating soft serve ice cream or frozen yogurt. And this would be enough for me and only me. All right, so we've got our blueberry avocado smoothie bowl here. And I think bee pollen is amazing with berries, and I just love the color. Bee pollen is kind of powdery, like these little soft nuggets. It almost has like a bitter honey flavor, which I love. And then maybe some sliced almonds, because that's always great with blueberries. And then why not a few of these dried mulberries, which kind of have a chewiness to them. They almost remind me a little bit of figs, but I love them. Really, the sky's the limit. All right, let's check this one out. I love to get a little bite of everything in here. A little of the bee pollen, a little of the mulberry, a little of the almond. That is so delicious. It's definitely blueberry-ish, but there's that subtle coconutty undertone to it. And plus I love the contrast of like the textures of the almonds with that creaminess. Plus I'm crazy about bee pollen. This is a winner. I hope you'll try it and let me know what your favorite smoothie bowl is.